And then by 2018, I had 9 units making like $85,000 in annual rent. And now I make close to $100,000 every month in annual rent. It is exactly what you mentioned early, that if you put your time in, you have that little delayed gratification. You keep refining your process in terms of tenant selection, in terms of managing costs, and in terms of raising rent and things of that nature. And you're very professional. You'll have that snowball effect where you'll see a large compounding impact. You'll say, wow, I can't believe what just happened.
All right, let's go. KAYR, man. Nice to have you on, and I'm excited to talk a little real estate. Our show is actually called The Real Estate Podcast, and appreciate you coming on, man. Hope you're doing well today. If you're good with it, we'd love to dive in, kind of introduce yourself to our listeners, and we'll just go from there.
Sounds good. Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm so excited to share my story and how I think about business. So I grew up in Philadelphia, 6 siblings, single parent household. My mother raised us on welfare. For the young people that don't know, that's the EBT card or what have you. We were extremely poor. At one point, we were homeless. And I remember when I was really young, and elementary teacher had to bring us some fried chicken. And so she brought my favorite original fried chicken, but she messed up on the sides. She had mashed potatoes and she had macaroni and cheese. I'm like, yo, you're killing me. Where's the coleslaw? But beggars can't be picky. But I remember that moment distinctively because I could look up to the sky because our 3rd floor was missing. We didn't have a roof. And at that moment, I said, I never want to be this poor again. And I want financial freedom and I want to become something. So I started to apply myself. I went to public school, did really well. And then I got a scholarship and went off to Bowdoin College and studied history and English and worked on Wall Street. And then in 2009, I bought my first rental property. And then from 2009, I went from 1 property to 9 doors in 2018. And then 2019, I was at 35 doors. Then I reached 105 in 2020. And so I retired in August of 2020. And I run my business, have a property management business, do some cleaning and landscaping. So it's been quite the journey.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I got a degree in history as well. Explain to me, you said you retired, but you're still in it. Like, you kind of saying like you removed yourself and you're more of a business owner now, or what do you kind of mean by that?
So before I was working, so throughout graduating from college from 2005 to 2020, I actually was working and I went to grad school. Mm-hmm. So I always had my 9 to 5. My strategy was to buy rental properties and save all the cash flows and also save the refi cash out money, so that eventually I could use that for the down payment and closing costs to buy apartment buildings. Mm-hmm. And just live on 9 to 5. And so I finally quit my 9 to 5 in August of 2020. And now I have like a crew, people who are designated as the property managers, people who are designated as the project managers. And I'm more or less like the CEO and people just report to me.
Got it. Very cool, man. Yeah, that's a great story. You know, I was raised by a single mom, and she taught me about real estate, which was amazing. Sounds like you kind of just knew you wanted to get into something, and we'll get into a couple of concepts that I really believe in and get your opinion on it. But is going from the 35 getting up to the 100, you started getting that higher door count by getting scale on like 20, 30 unit apartment type stuff. Is that what that was?
Yeah. And so in 2019 is when I bought a 5 unit, a 6 unit, and a 12 unit and a triplex. And then in 2020, I bought a 12 unit, and I also bought a 14 unit, and I bought a 24 unit. I also bought a 9 unit, and I bought 5 single families and a 6 unit. So that's when I started buying even larger units.
That's awesome.
And 2020 was the first year I decided to partner with someone else before I did everything on my own.
Yeah. That's great, man. And I know it's a lot of work, and, you know, we do similar things. I have probably half the door count, maybe 45 or 50. A lot of single family homes, and we're trying to buy a 17 unit right now out in Llano.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Are all these properties that you're buying in the same market?
No, actually, 85 are in the Philadelphia area. So some are in Philadelphia proper and some are in the suburbs. And then I have 20 units in Harrisburg. So I have 14 unit apartment building and 6 single families in Harrisburg.
And just always looking for more deals, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that what happens is as you scale up and you really get your approach down to a science, like I do value add investing. And I also like to find opportunities where I think that a property has been mismanaged and it's opportunity for us to go and cut costs and raise rents. So you be more selective, you get a whole lot of deals. I'm not one of those people that swing at every ball that's thrown my way. I try to be very thoughtful and methodical. I approach it kind of like how you think about like when the US went to war and got Afghanistan or Iraq, where you do really well. It's easy to get applause on the way in, but can you get applause on the way out? And so it's nice to say I bought 70 units in 1 year or 27 units in 1 year, but what is the cash on cash return? Have I been able to cut costs and increase the top line? So I try to focus on what I have in front of me, and then I make the next move.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think it's a great approach. So one of the things you'd be a good person to get your opinion on. I've been thinking a lot about this. One of our core values at our company is we believe within real estate that there's opportunities for everyone. And the more and more I'm in this business and around it and see other people, it just seems more prevalent that that's very, very true. In the sense that like whatever your race, your gender, your religion, whatever, everyone has an opportunity in real estate if they want to follow some simple things. I'm sure you know, right? Like just be super consistent, follow up, like do what you say you're going to do. Like it's not super complicated once you kind of understand the basics. I really truly cannot think of any other industry that is the same way where you could just jump on in and figure it out. Have you ever thought about that? And would you agree with that?
Well, I do think that real estate is a lot more accessible than a lot of other industries. So it's to a certain extent, I do agree with it. And I think that is my approach across the board in any industry. If you decide to be a teacher or a barber or anything like that, I always stress that if you do what's necessary, then do what's possible, you'll find yourself doing the impossible. So regardless of your sex, your gender, or your race or anything, if you wake up every day and you're a good person, you stay out of trouble, you're an honest broker, you treat people better than the way you want to be treated, you pay your bills, I think that that is what's doing what's necessary. And then you try to buy one house or you try to just buy one stock a year or something like that. Over time, you'll find yourself doing the impossible. And so I think that is transferable across different industries. But I do think that the opportunity to build scale and use leverage is very unique to real estate, unlike other industries.
Yeah. I guess that's what I should phrase it more. Cause you're right. Like you could be a barber and anybody could go be a barber, but you're right. It's like the ability to really grow that,
Yeah.
like, you can grow within the barber industry or whatever, but like,
This thing and leverage is not available in other industries.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I was thinking about that seems very fascinating to me, I'd love to get your opinion on this, is it seems, and this is in most business, but it applies very much in real estate. When you are putting in the work every day, like for example, if you're working out, people say I'm not seeing results, but they are, right? Like pretty quickly, like you're definitely you're getting stronger. But when you're in the real estate business, you could be putting in the work every day, hardcore, and not seeing these results for a while. It takes, in my opinion, 3-6 months to a year. But at some point when you start seeing those results, they just compound. And it's that snowball effect where they only get better and better and better. Where if you're working out, you're always just getting a little bit stronger every time. And so it's like delayed, and then the results just are magnified over time. So I'm just kind of fascinated by that, and I'm not sure how it compares with other industries either. But it seems somewhat unique to real estate and just business in general.
Yeah, I definitely think that the thing about real estate, unlike some other industries, especially if you become like a buy and hold investor, because some people in real estate, they want to be wholesalers, or some people in real estate want to do Airbnb and things of that nature, which requires a lot more effort on a daily basis. But if you're like an investor like us, where you're a buy and hold guy, and you decide that you have one unit, like in 2009, I was excited making $10,000 in annual rent. And then by 2018, I had 9 units making like $85,000 in annual rent. And now I make close to 100 grand every month in annual rent. It is exactly what you mentioned early, that if you put your time in, you have that little delayed gratification. You keep refining your process in terms of tenant selection, in terms of managing costs, and in terms of raising rent and things of that nature. And you're very professional. You'll have that snowball effect where you'll see a large compounding impact. You'll say, wow, I can't believe what just happened. So I definitely agree with that.
Right on. All right, man. So what, there's a lot of people that it's interesting because I'm truly back to believing that there's opportunities for everyone. I'm a big believer that if you want it and you want to put in the work, I truly do want to help you. What gets frustrating is if you're just talking about it and you don't really, you just kind of think you want it, but you're not doing anything. And there's just like one step that it takes certain people to get that first deal and realize like, oh, okay, it's not that hard. And you quickly start buying more. Did you have that experience on your first deal? And also, what would you say to people that just can't figure out how to take that first step? Because, at this point for you and me, it's easy to buy properties. That's just like, it's no big deal. There's no fear, nothing like that. You know what to do. You run your due diligence.
Yeah.
But putting yourself back, where were you at? And have you thought about that? And what would you tell people that are there?
Well, I never had that experience where I was afraid of pulling the trigger, because when I was younger, we moved around so much. We were so poor. We lived on both sides of the street. And my friends would say, oh my goodness, KAYR so damn poor. They were living on that side. The landlord kicked them out here on the other side. And then they having a cookout in the middle of the winter. Damn, they poor. So for me, it's like,
the only reason I'm laughing is I know that you've overcome it, and like, I'm not, yeah.
Another story, because I was thinking the same damn thing myself. I was like, man, my mother got to get this thing together. This is so damn embarrassing. That's just how it was. When you're a little kid, you're like, damn, I'm never going to be this poor again. This is so embarrassing. But the thing that is so funny is that a lot of us, we tend to we have a lot of raw talent. So in my course at KJ Consultant, the course that we teach, what we realize is that a lot of students have a lot of talent. So you know how to run, you know how to throw, you know how to catch. And so your raw talent, you can be like Michael Vick, and you have your up days, your bad days, you get caught up with dogfighting and stuff like that. But if you're like Mahomes or Brady and you have a really good coach, my job is to teach you how to be a better runner, a better thrower, and a better catcher. So therefore you can win championships versus having to face adversity. And what tends to happen is that if you want to be a great swimmer, you join a great swimming team. So therefore, if you join a good team, they're going to have the mindset to help you grow and get over a lot of your nervousness and things that make you scared. So what I've run into is a lot of people, they have this mindset, I have to be great in order to get started. I tell people, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And so what some people are doing is saying, I got to do a couple more push-ups before you let me in the game, coach. Just give me a little bit more time, coach. I'm telling you, I need a few more laps. No, we need to push people out there and make sure that they have the right framework. So like in my course, we teach you how to analyze different markets, teach you how to analyze different deals so that you're nimble. So you're not buying in a market that's overpriced, and you're not forcing yourself to do a full gut where you got to go down to the studs and you overwhelm yourself. Yeah. And so I think the issue is that a lot of the beginners, it's one way you own, which is great. And then some people, they just learn better by having a coach. So some people will have a physical therapist. Some people will have like a coach they go work out with. It helps them get to the next level. Some people will have friends that can hold them accountable. So I think one needs to first figure out how they best learn. Do you learn independently? Do you learn one-on-one? Do you learn from a coach? And then once you figure that out, then you got to figure out what's going to be your approach. You can't be a jack of all trades, saying that you're going to do Turo tomorrow, you're doing Airbnb tomorrow, you're buying apartment buildings tomorrow, and single families all on the same day. You'll be a jack of all trades, the master of none. So I encourage a lot of my students to figure out what approach you want to take and figure out you want to play. So for me, I said I'm gonna be a master at being the single family guy. I'm gonna learn how to buy them, rehab them, refinance them, and keep at it so I become an expert, and then move into value add apartment buildings. So I tell people the riches are in the niches. You got to figure out what's going to be your niche, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I posted earlier on our company page, become an expert at whatever your craft is, and you will always see the rewards for that. That's great, man. So we did a little bit of coaching. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, what percentage of people do you think would think they need coaching and sign up for it? And then are these people that, I guess, percentage wise, like, are they truly putting in the work? Is it 20% of people, 50%? Like, when you're telling them, hey, are you serious about this? Like, go get after it. Like, what percentage of people are impressing you when they come in? Like, they're really going that above and beyond, like probably what you would do or what I would do if you were to sign up for something like that. I'm just genuinely curious.
Okay, perfect. So my virtual bootcamp course, we tend to have about 20 people per class, 20 to 25 people. And I would say out of that class that designate the work, we give them 4 hours of instruction on how to do an analysis. And then we agree to work with them for the next 12 months, no additional cost. And those students, out of that 25, I would say 20, from my experience, have been really gung-ho and determined out of that 25. Because some are like, look, we really like the way you think, KR. We like your approach and the frameworks, and we want to at least buy one property. So I tell my students, look, I'm not coaching you to be the best KR. I'm coaching you to be the best version of you. So if we can just get you to buy one property, you're a success. I want every student to buy one property. If you don't buy any more after that, then that's up to you. And that one property can be the one you live in, or it can be one that you rent. And out of the students that we have, if we get 25 per class, basically like 20 of them will end up buying one property within a year, which is a big success. Now, my other students who I do one-on-one coaching, 100% success rate for all of them, because they already are so motivated that they'll fix their credit score. They'll come up with a down payment. Like none of them are going to fall off.
Right. Yeah. I wonder what percentage of those people that get that first house also buy a second, because it seems that just becomes so much easier to get that second.
That's the hard part, because what we do is we work with the students for 12 months. And so we have a range of students. I had one student buy 10 properties in 1 year. So 10 doors. So what we do is we keep track of only the 12 months. And then after that, we let them go on their own. So we'll have some students buy 5, sometimes buy 2, 3. I would say at least 50% of them are definitely going to buy at least 2 properties, from my experience of the 75 students I work with.
Yeah. I don't know if you can think of this off the top of your head.
As the 5 to 10, that is like your rarity. If you go past 5 doors, even though you see on IG people talking about they have 5, people normally don't go past 5. Most people just stop, like once they get to like 3 or 4.
Yeah. And if if you are a passive investor and you invest in a deal, you go out and claim all the total amount of doors on that entire complex. You know what I'm saying?
Have the people who do the application is 400 doors and they put in 20,000. They own like less than 1%. I'm talking about the people that actually take my course. Normally people stop like around 4, and the overachievers will get 5. Most people are stopping at 3 or 4 doors and keeping their 9 to 5.
Yeah, I love it, man. So this is kind of, for me personally, question, like, what are some of your biggest frustrations with what you do, or biggest challenges that you run across daily or monthly or weekly? What are some of those things?
I think the biggest challenge one runs into, especially as one scale, is it's always going to be hard. You could buy more programs and apps and websites and all those different things. It's finding talented people that share your values, that you can teach, that are teachable. So you'll have people who say, oh, I want to come work with you, KR. I think I'll be a good fit for your company. And then you're like, this person is always late. This person is not committed. This person is taking a long term to understand my best practices. So I think that is the challenge as you scale, to find more talented people, whether they're working in your landscaping business, your cleaning business, or your property management business, or even becoming like your junior acquisition person that you teach to analyze deals. The hardest part is finding talent.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool that you say that, because, man, I literally spend all my time meeting new people. And over time, and I've done this for about 4 or 5 years, literally 3 to 5, 6 meetings every day. And what I've realized is I'm simply searching for good people that I like, and I can figure out ways to work with them. And as we're growing our business, I now have this massive database of people that I've known for years. And the one
Yeah.
thing I'm really excited about that I talked to a really successful business guy here in Austin. He said, man, once you start like hiring really good talent and paying them and putting them in the right spot, that's when it really gets fun and starts growing. And so that's kind of we're at that point where we're trying to get over that ledge. But I can see the people, we have the capital to pay them. And I'm like, and some of these things obviously are going to fail. We're going to hire someone and they're not who we thought they were. But
Yeah.
once he said that, I realized how true that was. And with what you're saying, and, I heard something last night about you want to build $100 million business, like you got to have just great people. And I was like, that is so true.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
nobody does it on their own.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'll become what happened is when I first started in real estate, when I had one unit, I used to find myself running through the real estate streets. I would be like at Home Depot, walking through a house with contractors and be all excited. But if you look at my page now, you'll never see me going to a site. I don't even go to the sites before I buy them. I have a team, acquisition team. They'll go look at the site, take pictures. My contractor will go look at the site before he fixes it or rehab it, send it back to me. Because now I'm more focused on real estate contracts and negotiations and investors and relationships with lenders and contractors. So I can do all my work for my luxury apartment, more focused on the big picture, trying to figure out the leases and all those different things. So it's a whole different ballpark when you're starting to scale because you're no longer in that day-to-day. Jeff Bezos said it the best when he first started as a startup. He had 1,000 decisions to make every day. But now as an executive, he tries to make 3 to 4 good decisions per day that's going to impact the business and thinking in the future. And that's why I try to spend my time, because once you start to scale and you can see yourself getting to a 1 million or 2 million, 4 million, 10 million, you're more focused about the future, talking about what decisions can I make, whether it take 3 hours to make that one good decision that's going to help the business overall.
Right, man. Yeah. And, Warren Buffett said he tries to make 3 good decisions a year. So it's fast, but man, that's great. I appreciate it. What are anything that you want to get out to people, to listeners? Like, what's important for you as far as sharing? You came from nothing essentially, and from both sides of the streets to a luxury apartment, a success story, opportunities for everyone, like I talk about. What else do you want to get out there?
So for what we like to stress at KJ Consult is this concept I call transformational wealth. And you hear a lot about generational wealth, where you have pretty much think of I buy a house today and 40 years from now, my child is going to be able to inherit this house and their life is going to change. And that's like a north to south concept. But if you go left to right, west to east, if you think about it, and this is what we call transformational wealth, where I was well off, I decided to get in real estate investing, convinced my brother to get his real estate license. So when I do $1 million deal, my brother is serving as the agent. He's getting a 3% commission. He walks away with $30,000. He can use that for a down payment to buy a house for him and his wife and his 5 children. Not only that, he continues to work with me. He makes more money working with me. He's able to gift his in-laws $8,000 so they can move out of an apartment and buy a duplex. So now my wealth right now has transformed my brother's situation. So now he and his family is well off. And then he's able to transform his in-law situation all within like a couple of years span, versus taking this 40-year span, 50-year span. Transformational wealth is something I really think about. As you build your business, think of your business kind of like a startup. You want people to be incentivized. So don't just give them an income. You also can give them equity. You also can help them think about their retirement plans. It's thinking about how can you transform people's lives today, not 40 years, 30 years from now. So that's one thing we really encourage. Another thing is I'm encouraging everybody to check out our page. Every Monday we do motivational Mondays. We do Tuesday tips, Wednesday workout tips, Friday financial literacy. And we're actually offering a course on September 18th from 10:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're interested, you'll be able to work with us, learn from us for 4 hours. Then on top of that, get a list of questions that we use for our property managers, lenders, all those different parties. Then get access to Joe and I for the next 12 months at no additional cost, one-time cost of $349. You can sign up for that if you click on the link on our page. And so that's what I like to leave the audience with.
Right on, man. I love it. All right. Well, one piece of advice for investors, entrepreneurs, like what is something, I know we've touched on a lot already. Anything that's sticking out to you right now that you can lay it out for us?
One piece of advice I would tell you for investors, we highlighted already, figure out how you learn. If you figured out that you need to learn from a coach, like someone like one of us, then you need to make sure that that coach has receipts. Make sure that they're not just blowing hot air in your face. Ask for the addresses. You can look up all the addresses of their properties and see if they're the owner. The other thing is you want to make sure that mentor has a growth mindset and a mindset of abundance, because you don't want someone that's intimidated, not willing to share all their secrets with you, that they're afraid they're not going to be able to move forward because they're holding you back. You want a coach that's not going to pull you up, but one that's going to turn around and meet you where you are. And so that's what I try to do for my students, is say, hey, look, let's figure out what's the best moves for you moving forward. So that's something I would leave with the investors. And this other thing is, you only need 2 out of 3 things to be successful in real estate. You need to have knowledge, you need to have grit, or you need to have money. You only need 2 out of 3. When I first started, all I had was knowledge and grit, and ability to outwork other people. And whatever I lack, I make up with my enthusiasm. And so I encourage a lot of people out there, regardless of your age, to figure it out and decide where your strengths lies.
Love it, man. Let's go. I appreciate it. Well, you're living it, you're doing it. We're following you on social. We'd love to stay in touch. We will try to help you out any way we can, and let's keep getting after it, man. So I appreciate you coming on, KR, and sharing your story.
I had a lot of fun, and I'm glad we connected. We have very similar stories. So you're my Southern brother.
Amen, dude. I love it. Yeah. Appreciate you so much. So I hope you have a great day.
You too. Take care.